The headline is that Trevor Etienne is facing a one-game suspension. He got arrested in March on DUI charges under the University of Georgia's athletic department policy. He is expected to miss one game. That was Pete Thamel over at ESPN. You're going to want to stick with me on this because this is about to get very nuanced in a very real way. First of all, I think Mark Schlabach wrote this yesterday. Pete Thamel coming through today on air tells me, and I'm not reporting this, that you should not expect Etienne to play against Clemson. However, I don't know where this one game thing is coming from because all you have to do, reporting wise, and I'll put it on the screen right now. You go to the University of Georgia's Student Athlete Conduct Comprehensive Plan. It's page 20. There are three. Why can't I get back on the screen? There are four dots underneath arrest for felony crimes and DUIs. There's four things you got to do. Student athlete has to notify their head coach immediately. There's an immediate suspension. Well, we know that the suspension is not taking place anymore because he's practicing with the team, right? It says from an athletic competition pending review from the Comprehensive Action Plan Committee. Who is the Action Plan Committee? It's the Senior Women's Administrator, the Senior Deputy Athletic Director, Deputy Athletic Director for Legal and Regulatory Affairs, Faculty Athletics Representative, and then what happens then? The committee meets and after an investigation and reviews the facts, it will forward recommendation of penalties to the Athletic Director, who is Josh Brooks. Josh Brooks then, in the final stretch here, will approve, modify, or return the matter to the committee for further consideration. There's nothing in here about a one-game suspension, which tells me people aren't reporting on this the way. Like, we may end up at the right conclusion, but people aren't doing the detailed work of this. I have searched this document for one-game suspension, 10%. It's not in there. So I don't know. This is a decision that essentially is coming down to Kirby Smart. If anyone thinks it's something other than that, they're being naive, okay? And being arrested for felony crimes or DUIs, okay, you are immediately suspended from athletic competition, okay? So now that's just for an arrest, not even a conviction. I've been talking about the charges have been dropped. That's been me ignorantly saying that because, as it turns out, it's just the arrest alone. Now, with that said, I was ignorantly saying that, it would be Section C of Section 1, subsection C of this, which is what I was talking about, which is the committee, after investigation, reviews the facts, will forward a recommendation. It's possible that because the charges were dropped in in late July, the committee has only recently met and then dealt with this, and it's come down to that. This is where we're at with things. It's possible it went that slow. I kind of doubt it, but it's possible it went that slow. I don't know, but there's two things at once here, okay? And I'm not calling anybody out in particular. I'm just saying we don't. This was a very vague thing from ESPN. The headline is that Trevor Etienne is facing a one-game suspension. I'm not sure that's completely accurate. And it goes on to say that he went on to say his backup, Rod Robinson, is also expected to miss a couple of weeks with a toe injury, had toe surgery. And that means we're going to see some new faces at tailback for the Dogs. Branson Robinson, kind of a bruising sophomore running back, is expected to get the start. He'll be backed up by true freshman Nate Frazier. So I'm not doubting that Etienne is going to miss this game. We know that Kirby has confirmed that Rod Robinson is going to be out of this game because he's got the toe. He's just had toe surgery. So for me though, it's aggravating because we're talking about a one-game suspension. He's facing a one-game suspension based on what though? Based on what I just said, right? From this handbook. This handbook's very specific, but it has nothing in it about a one-game suspension. And in no part of this that I can read does it talk about how a person has to be suspended. So that he's facing a 1-game suspension, I don't think. And is this in the weeds too much? I don't think so. If this is what you're basing your reporting on, if you're facing a suspension, then why would you categorize it as a 1-game when it talks about the committee after an investigation? I mean, we got committees involved here. That 10% thing, that's gone. It's not in here anymore, y'all. Not that I can tell. I'll look for it one more time before I publish this to make sure. But but all that said, all of my criticism said, if it was a vague report, but guys aren't just going to go on television without a pretty good hold on that ESPN doesn't think he's going to play. I don't know. My suspicion is that he's not. This is Kirby could just go say, "Hey, look, he's not playing." He can do that tonight in an hour or 45 minutes, whatever it is. So he can just end all of this tonight. But I why end the fun now? I mean, we're already a couple of days away from the game. There's no reason to stop the madness now. We have not, I have not, and clearly no other reporters have been able to crack this nut. It will come out, and that's what I said at the beginning of the week. And maybe this is just part one of chipping away at it. I don't know. But this sort of stuff always comes out. It may be slow motion coming out right now that he's not going to play. But I can't report that. I don't know. And it sure looks like the tea leaves are that he's that way. But I just don't, I get real jumpy about this stuff because, you just don't ever want to be wrong. Even being right with the wrong backup is just not a comfortable place to be in. And, y'all can all go look up the rules. But, Georgia's a 13.5 point favorite in this game. People at Las Vegas know that Etienne's availability is 50-50, maybe not even that high. It's making no difference. I know coaches don't look at betting lines. I hope they don't, because they're completely irrelevant to what they're doing. But the fact of the matter is that I was just talking to somebody a second ago, and I think that this is probably true. If Georgia were playing Ohio State in the semifinals, and at the beginning of December, your running back catches a DUI charge, and then by the time they play, it's dropped. Do you think that he would play? I do think he would play. I think this is a different situation. I think this is, you're at Georgia. There's been a lot of discussion about off the field driving problems. Then there has been problems, no question. Do you want to end this PR, I would say nightmare now, or at least codify the wound and kind of move on with your season? The one way you can do that is by not playing Etienne in this game. That's not the one way. That is one step in the direction of this thing. But I don't see anything about a 1-game suspension. I see about how, student athletes are immediately, this is very specifically for felony and DUIs, okay? Student athlete is required to notify the head coach immediately. I have no idea if that happened. Immediate suspension from athletic competition pending review of the comprehensive action plan committee, which I already told you all those people are. After an investigation and review of facts, they forward the recommendation to the athletic director. So Josh Brooks gets to say, he can approve it, modify it. He can say, you know what, y'all are wrong. I want him suspended for 4 games. I want him suspended for no games. Or I'm going to send it back to y'all. Or, approve whatever they say, and they may not have said it's a game. No one knows. That's the part that I'm trying to put. I should have started that from the beginning. Y'all, no, we don't know. We don't know. Purposely. I'm not cheering that. I'm saying we don't know because we don't know what we don't know. That's it. It's not, there's that's all there is to it. And I mean, is Josh going to say, look, Kirby, I don't think you're, second best playmaker on offense or best playmaker on offense should be playing in this game. And then the head coach disagree. And they're going to fight about, look, nobody would get in that situation. Having been on a board of trustees for 9 years at an NCAA institution, you don't get in those situations, okay? You choose not to get in those situations. That's what the hallway is for, and then you go back into the meeting and handle stuff. So this, whatever is going on has been known probably for a little bit of time, if not a long time. And that it's now trickling out is just how, reporting works. But, we described, the comment there as vague, which I think it is. But I take real issue. I have to say, I do take issue with facing a 1-game suspension because all due respect, we don't know that. Like, we don't. And that was the case, I know for sure. But having read this 41-page document, I'm not sure I can say that anymore. I'm just, not passing judgment. It's just, and then the other thing, by the way, is there are, this was not a drug-related thing. This was not this, that, and the other. This was not a misdemeanor. This was not behavior detrimental to the university. This was not alcohol. Well, it does say alcohol, drug-related misconduct. So that could be dealing with universities problem, university statutes with alcohol. Excuse me. But I think this basically is felony crimes and DUI. Committee may delay. This is another part. The committee may delay action pending law enforcement or campus investigations and review. So law enforcement did have action in July, not law enforcement, but the system had action. I don't, we don't know. Kirby's not saying, okay, A. B, practices are closed. They've been closed since 2019, basically. So no one ever sees anything unless you're talking to somebody who's there, which happens from time to time. And so, and B, or, Clemson's not putting a depth report out, a depth chart out because, Dabo's in his feelings again or something. I don't even know with that guy. So, we don't know what the depth chart is, but I'll leave it at this. If you can't beat Clemson with 2 spectacular running backs in Robinson and Frazier, then you're just not good. And I don't, and that's not what this is about exclusively. I understand that. But Georgia should win the game no matter who the starting running back is. Now, once you start getting further down the line, maybe, past Cass Jones, that's different. Then you're talking about complete walk-ons who've never playing. Georgia's not in that. So I do not know, full ignorance here, I do not know who Clemson's backup behind Moffitt is. I don't know that person. But they're not bad. So, Georgia just happens to be stacked at running back. One of them looks like they may not play this game because of, the university saying you cannot play. And then B, Rod Robinson's definitely out with just having had toe surgery. But I wanted to update y'all and be as, look, all that we can do on here is try to be as honest with y'all as possible. We have a connect, this is about telling you the truth as we see it. And that's what I'm trying to say here is that everything's not, just black and white. And maybe ESPN's not trying, maybe Pete Thamel was not trying to do that. But I don't know. But a quick look, it's not that quick. But if you read the specific section on that, it's pretty clear that it's unclear. I'll put it to you that way. And the 1-game suspension thing, that's what I don't know if that's true. I don't know that that's true. It doesn't really seem like that to me. But anyway, thanks for watching.